Svetlana didn't like big cities. The roar of hundreds of cars and the noise of thousands of voices made her feel uncomfortable. Her hometown, on the other hand, was more to her liking. Even in the very center, it resembled a small town, surrounded by quiet streets with small two-story buildings and private houses, occasionally interspersed with shops, a kindergarten, or a school, along with a post office branch. Of course, there were a couple of large enterprises and several small ones, constituting the entire infrastructure. However, it was quiet and peaceful, devoid of the noise and uncontrollable crowds of people. That's precisely why the question of leaving after school didn't arise for Svetlana. After attending a graduation party in the regional center and successfully enrolling in a distance learning program at one of the universities, she returned to her hometown. She got a job at one of the post office branches near her home, and life flowed calmly and steadily. After some time, Svetlana met Ivan, who, much like her, disliked big and noisy cities, preferring to live in their hometown. Ivan worked at one of the city's enterprises, which set him apart from other young people. The enterprise was known for its strict management and good salaries, not hiring just anyone. Those employed there were considered serious individuals, not prone to drinking or inappropriate behavior. Modest and home-loving, Svetlana appealed to Ivan, and the young couple quickly began to consider marriage. They were certain that their union was meant to be, and, therefore, their wedding should be memorable, with numerous guests, a local restaurant, and a honeymoon by the sea. Having proposed to his future wife as tradition dictated, Ivan became the center of attention regarding the guests, the local restaurant, and the honeymoon by the sea. As per tradition, having proposed to his future wife, Ivan began looking for a place for them to live. Soon, they found a suitable apartment. Ivan's distant aunt agreed to rent them the apartment she owned, passed down to her from her grandmother for utility bills and a nominal fee. The excited bride and groom quickly tidied up the apartment, refreshed some furniture, moved in their belongings, and started saving up for their dream wedding. "What's this?" Ivan looked surprised at the package. "I got paid and decided to treat us," joyfully replied Svetlana. "I'll just change quickly and prepare a romantic dinner for us. You'll love it." Swiftly shedding her coat and boots, she took the package from her fiancé's hands and headed to the kitchen, continuing to chat carelessly along the way. "I found a salad recipe online. I think you'll enjoy it. I'll whip it up quickly while the fish is frying." Ivan silently followed his bride. With each new purchase taken out of the bag, his expression grew darker. "Svet, this costs a fortune, and there's hardly anything to eat here," the young man finally exclaimed. "Oh, come on," retorted the girl, oblivious to her fiancé's mood. "Fish is a very light and filling food. But if you think you won't be satisfied, I can make rice too. Okay, forget about the fish. But why did you buy shrimp? They cost as much as a plane ticket." Ivan was visibly upset now. "I got them on sale, but can't we treat ourselves occasionally? We already eat only what our parents provide us with." "Svetlana, did you forget that we're saving for our wedding?" "Our wedding? Don't you want it to be grand? A dress, a veil, beautiful rings. With such expenses, we'll never save enough. What about our honeymoon then? Vanya, I'm tired of potatoes, pasta, and meat. I want some salad or something different." Svetlana still didn't understand why Ivan suddenly revolted because she decided, for once, to diversify their menu and pamper them a bit. "Wow, you don't like the meat? By the way, it's not store-bought. It's homemade. Mom could sell it at the market and make good money, but she gives it to us. And if you want a salad, open the jar of ajvar. It's better than store-bought chemicals. I just wanted to make us happy." Tears welled up in the girl's eyes. Understanding that he had gone too far, Ivan approached his bride and hugged her. "Sveta, it's too early for us to rejoice. We need to save for the wedding, go to the sea, and then think about our own place. We can't spend our whole lives renting. Lately, we haven't allowed ourselves anything. Our biggest purchase was a kettle, and that's because the old one broke, and it costs more to fix it than to buy a new one. We save all our money, and my boots are about to fall apart. I need to buy new ones. What's wrong with the boots? Ivan immediately perked up. Let me see. Svetlana obediently brought her shoes. You can glue them here. It's no big deal. After a brief inspection, Ivan exclaimed happily, You've already glued them right here. They'll hold up. Ivan rushed to find some glue. Darling, I'll be late. Don't miss me. For the first time, Svetlana was glad that Ivan got held up at work. Dinner was prepared for 3 days, and she had already done the laundry for the weekend. She could relax, watch a series, or read a magazine. But it wasn't to be. Sveta, make your signature patties. Mom brought some chicken. But we have patties and goulash, the girl tried to argue. They won't go bad. I just want something special today. Come on, please. You're at home anyway. What else do you have to do? You can pamper your favorite groom. Sveta didn't have time to object. Somewhere in the background, Ivan was called, and he quickly left. Sighing, Svetlana headed to the kitchen, recalling the conversation with her mother earlier that day. Daughter, what's with your boots? They're torn. So buy new ones. What's the problem? Vanya says they can still be glued, and we need to save for the wedding. Her mother looked at her strangely and asked cautiously, But that's a necessary purchase, isn't it? Well, at least you can afford boots. Ivan seems to be earning quite well. Yes, but he's trying to save everything up as quickly as possible for the wedding. Then I guess he'll start saving for a house. How did you figure that out? It wasn't hard, thought the woman, but said aloud, Let's go. I'll save your money. I'll buy you the boots. Ivan came home late. Hearing the sound of the opening door, Sveta hurried to set the table. She wanted to finish dinner quickly and go to bed. However, Ivan didn't rush to show up in the kitchen. Sveta, his voice was heard from the hallway. Come here. The girl went to him. What's this? Did you buy yourself new boots? Sveta, I asked you not to. We can't afford such expenses. And what? Do you expect me to wear summer shoes now? The girl couldn't contain herself. I also work and can afford to buy necessary things. I did glue those for you. They came apart as soon as I left the house. Maybe I should be more careful. What? Maybe I should also fly? With your thriftiness, you're ready to dress me in rags. Since I started living with you, I don't buy anything for myself. I can't even remember the last time I used cream. I buy only the most necessary things with a careful eye. I forgot about buying anything new for myself. Actually, this wedding is not just for me. I'll turn into a beggar at this rate. We've been saving our entire salary for 6 months. For it, I'm sure there's already a lot saved up. Seeing that the bride was seriously upset, Ivan snapped to attention. Sveta, what's wrong? All right, you bought them, and you bought them if it was so necessary. But let's discuss such purchases together next time. I told you about it. Well, I didn't think it was so serious. What about the money for the wedding? As soon as the couple started living together, they decided to save all their money in an account, leaving a small sum for essential expenses. Both had access to the account, but the girl never inquired how much they had saved there, trusting Ivan wouldn't deceive her. Everything's fine. A couple more paychecks, and we can get ready for the wedding. I'd like to check the amount. Don't you trust me? Ivan? Okay. The young man took out his phone and opened the app. We've got enough for 2 weddings already. Svetlana was upset again. And the vacation? Darling, did you forget about the vacation? I want us not to deny ourselves anything when we're at the seaside. And it's worth having some backup. Prices might soar, unexpected expenses, and when we come back, we'll need something to live on. Judging by how we're living now, nothing will change much for us, even if we spend every penny on vacation. Well, darling, you're exaggerating. And don't forget, we need our own place. I even fear to think how we'll save for that. I promise it'll be easier with that. Svetlana sighed and reluctantly agreed, heading to the kitchen. That evening, she downloaded the bank's app on her phone, which held their joint account with Ivan. There was a huge car parked by the entrance, but Sveta was preoccupied with her thoughts and didn't pay attention to it. Today, she finished work earlier than usual, hoping Ivan would be late so she could have a quiet bath with her new toiletries. After their last argument, she didn't show her purchases to her fiancé, preferring not to face his scrutiny after each purchase. Luckily, Ivan didn't check how much she deposited into their joint account or rummage through her belongings. Upon opening the door to the apartment, she realized that Ivan was home for some reason, and judging by the unfamiliar voice, he wasn't alone. I would have just quietly signed it, but my stubborn wife. I want a lavish wedding, just like everyone else. And what about me? I've decided to tie myself down with family ties. I have to endure it. After all, it's about time, thinking about kids. And Svetka is a good girl, a spender, true, but I'll slowly change that. But she's an excellent housekeeper and obedient, does everything I say, listens to me. If you've decided to start a family, you need to think about housing. That's not a problem. I've already spotted a house. I'll buy it. It's just a bit far from my workplace, so I'll have to buy a car. And don't you have one? I did. Sold it recently. Wanted to buy a new one right away. But Svetka complained. Wedding, honeymoon. So I decided I'll get everything I need after the wedding. Fuming with indignation, Sveta rushed into the room, speechless. At the table, adorned with delicacies, sat Ivan and a young man she didn't recognize. Oh, here's Sveta. Ivan jumped up from his seat. Why haven't you changed? Let's go. I'll help you. He promptly took the girl by the arm and dragged her into the hallway. Ivan, what does this mean? Sveta hissed. And where did these delicacies come from? A friend came. We went to school together. Now he lives in the capital, has his own business, all high and mighty. So I decided not to show myself in a bad light. Ivan hurriedly took off Sveta's coat. Please, play along with me, so he doesn't think we're paupers. I mean, is all this feast on our tab? Well, Sveta, how else should I entertain him? With pasta and meat? You don't mind feeding me those, Sveta retorted. Sveta, come on. I just want Oleg not to think that only in the capital can one live well. Please play along. All right. Sveta walked into the room, smiling broadly. Good evening, I'm Sveta. Pleasure's all mine. The guest softly smiled and rose from his seat. Taking Sveta's hand in his, he gently brushed his lips against it. Oleg, Ivan speaks highly of you. I don't doubt it. Smiling, Sveta sat back at the table. Ivan had gone all out to impress his former classmate. Expensive alcohol, premium meat platter, caviar. Sveta hadn't seen such delicacies in a while. Making sure that his bride wasn't going to expose him in front of the guest, Ivan relaxed, coming up with more and more new future purchases and increasing his income. Oleg continued to smile gently, nodding, occasionally throwing in some flattering epithets, which further excited Ivan, and he glanced at Svetlana. "Thank you for your hospitality," Oleg said as he left. "Allow me to reciprocate and invite both of you, naturally, for a return dinner." "Of course, gladly," Ivan replied. "How about tomorrow?" "Perfect," Oleg agreed. As soon as the guest left, Svetlana rushed to the phone. Opening the app, she noticed that the amount they had saved for the wedding had significantly decreased. "Ivan, did you spend the money we were saving for the wedding?" Svetlana asked. "Svet, I explained it. I didn't want to seem like a failure to Oleg. Let him think that we're well off here, too." "Didn't it bother you that your girl was walking around in torn boots? You didn't look like a failure." "What's with you? And those boots? You bought them anyway." "It wasn't me. My mom took pity on me," the girl burst out. "Really?" Ivan perked up. "Well, you see, and it wasn't worth throwing a fit over it. You can ask your mother for everything you need, and our money will be safe." "Yes, I will save every penny, deny myself everything, while you throw dust in the eyes of your former classmates, buying caviar and delicacies with that money. You know what? Why don't you go? I don't want to live with—" "Really?" Ivan perked up. "Well, you see, and it wasn't worth throwing a fit over it. You can ask your mother for everything you need, and our money will be safe." "Yes, I will save every penny, deny myself everything, while you throw dust in the eyes of your former classmates, buying caviar and delicacies with that money. You know what? Why don't you go? I don't want to live with you anymore. You're stingy and a liar." With these words, Svetlana gathered her things and left the house. Stopping, she accessed the app again and transferred all the money she had been transferring from her salary to the joint account to her personal account. Her parents lived far away, and the girl decided to call a taxi. To her surprise, Oleg stepped out of the larger car parked by the entrance. "I somehow thought that you'd appear here shortly after my departure." "Why would you think so?" Svetlana tried to hide the surprise and shame that began to envelop her. Apparently, Oleg had guessed Ivan's manipulations. "From your face, it was immediately clear that everything Ivan told me was his fiction. Are you gloating?" "No, I just don't understand why try to appear as someone you're not. After all, it's not money that defines a person, but their character." "But you have money, don't you? It's normal for someone who aspires to something. Are you aiming for a wealthy life?" "No, I just want neither me nor my family to need anything or fear tomorrow. Your wife is lucky. And I'm not married. It's even strange for your reasoning and financial situation. Apparently, I got too carried away with my work and the desire to help my family, forgetting about my personal life. It's better than rushing. Can I give you a lift?" Oleg nervously shifted from foot to foot, worrying that Svetlana wouldn't arrive. For a whole year, at every convenient opportunity, he traveled to his hometown to meet the girl. With each visit, he became more convinced that she was the woman he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. But Svetlana was cautious and initially didn't seek closeness. Oleg was persistent, and finally, the girl relented. The young couple started dating. Inspired, Oleg began to think about marriage. However, on the path to their joint happiness, an obstacle appeared in the form of Svetlana's unwillingness to live in a big city. Without hesitation, Oleg bought a house a few kilometers from the capital, in a quiet, cozy place, and today he was waiting for Svetlana to evaluate her future place of residence. The wedding was modest, attended only by the closest relatives and a couple of friends, among whom Ivan was absent. Thanks everyone for listening. Subscribe to the World of Stories channel. I'll be grateful for a like under the video. Until we meet again.